Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube page. I'm Phil Jose and this is the Art of Reading Smoke. Do this every Thursday at 1400 Eastern Time. For those of you in the mountain time like me, that's noon. On Thursdays you can join me here. A lot of times I'm live. Last week and this week it's going to be recorded. It'll go live at 2 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, but I'm out on the road traveling, seeing my family. As you can see, I got a big project going on at home here. So I got stuff all over my office, but we're still going to do some reading smoke, and here we go. This is a drone video footage. Don't use that a lot, but they're stretching the lines, right? The first supply line's being laid. They're getting ready to stretch the line here. You can see they have a garage fire, and this garage fire is pumping smoke into the attic, right? Just pumping it in there. And so what you're seeing, this other smoke here that's coming from this seat of the fire right here, it's got access to the attic space already. You can see that. I mean, look at the roofs of these. Look at the attics of these houses in this neighborhood. They're massive, right? They're massive spaces, and once it gets in there, it's pushing. So it's pushing up here. It's coming out the ridge vent. You can see it coming out around the edges, the cracks and seams, or the bird blocking of the roof, even with a big wind condition coming this way. It's pretty significant fire. Okay, this smoke coming out of here, you notice it's a lot darker than this. This is a lot darker, and this smoke here is picking up some steam as it's going through the attic space. It's heating up those trusses and getting the steam out of those, getting the water out of those trusses. But this smoke is being pushed right now. It's may or may not already be an independent fire in here and in here, but certainly we have high volume, high velocity, thick black smoke, turbulent, thick black smoke coming out of the ridge vent all the way along here and all the way around this section of the roof right here, and then clearly out of the garage, right? So we're going to watch. They're going to start their fire attack. They're going to go direct at the garage. You'll see a line stretching in, or not stretched, but operating in here. You'll see some white. And I want you to watch how quickly the smoke's being pushed from this fire, how quickly this changes color up here when they start applying water. I mean, you can actually watch it. So there they go. They're starting now, and watch this color change up here. Here first, and then it just works its way down. And a lot of white in here. Now this is in the gray, right? We're still in the gray here, but a significant color change. We're looking for the color change here on these eaves, and we're going to start to see it. But we haven't really seen any change in velocity, but we have seen density color. You know, these are the things I'd be looking at. That's getting a little lighter now, starting to trail off a little bit. That's a little lighter than it was before. And of course you wouldn't be able to see all this at once, right? You have to take an inventory over the course of time. Additional lines getting stretched here. And what I want to point out though is in the middle of this white and steam, in the middle of this, there's still some really good volume of turbulent black smoke right in the middle of it. It's sort of being encapsulated by all the rest of the high volumes of turbulent white, right? The steam, when we get those looming, booming columns of steam coming out, just really a high volume of that when we do fire attack. But in the middle of that, and I don't know what it looks like from underneath, right? But from up here, you can see there's pretty significant black smoke coming out of this area on occasion. But the rest of it looks like it's gotten better. But there's another push of that black right there, another one, right? So there's definitely still a fire working in the middle section right in here, even though they've got a really good handle on the garage right now. So what we're gonna want to be able to do, if we have the staffing, if we have the resources, right, is be able to get lines in there, pull those ceilings, maybe even get up here and open it up. But we're going to want to watch along here, and it got better initially, but it just pretty much stays the same. And now you're going to start to see the color change along these edges. We're going to go to brown. Maybe when we're talking brown, we're talking about unfinished wood in the mid 300s to mid 400s temperature wise, right? So we have the smoke coming out here, right? We have the smoke coming out here that was pushed from down here. Hit this really hard, the steam got pushed, switched this over to white. Now we're a very, very light gray. Now we're still in the gray scale, but we know we got a firework in here, and it's still going to have access to this attic. So over the course of time, this attic's going to start getting heated, and when that occurs, we're going to start to see this smoke coming out from these eaves is going to start to turn brown. Now, if we did something about this fire here, right, if we were able to tap that, we'd want to watch these. If they continue the same or get worse, then we've still got a good working fire somewhere. We'd have to dig it out, find out where it is, that sort of thing. But in this case, we can see right here we've still got a pretty good working fire. We're going to see this fire, it's smaller, so it's going to start heating this attic space up, drying it out again from the steam that was brought on by the initial fire attack, and you're going to see this stuff start to turn to brown. Right, I'm going to pop it forward, and you can start to see the brown color up here first, right up here where we were pointing out there was a working fire first, but now see the brown out of here, and so there's still something going in the attic, and I would say here, based on the fact that it looks to me like the velocity is higher here than it is here, and remember, higher velocity, highest velocity for the most restricted opening is closest to the seat of the fire, right? So I think we have more velocity. Looks like from here it's a little tough to see because of the distance. Ladder truck just arrived. I think if I looked at it, I think they had maybe 6 or 7 folks on scene right now, right? So it's a big building for only 6 or 7 firefighters. And in fact, this brown is going to continue for pretty good period of time, right? It's actually even getting a little worse. It's getting a little worse in here, a little fade in, fade out by the drone, but it's definitely not getting better, right? Overall volume is now up. We still have turbulence. It's getting thicker. The brown is definitely getting thicker, and as we talked about, the color is brown, right? So you still see a little flame here, a little flame there, but somewhere in this attic space, there's probably right in here, based on the read, right, that we're going to be able to see that there's a attic fire working. And in fact, I'll pop it forward a little further, and we'll see it start to break out, right? It's finally worked its way through the sheathing, through the roof covering, and now it's got pretty good access to the outside. And before too long, right, we're off to the races as far as an attic. And notice that here, because this isn't as confined, right, it doesn't have that roof on it like the garage did, where the garage was forcing out here. This is forcing pressure and heat this way. It's really making this brown darker as the temperature rises and rises. But as it's working, it's still heating up that space, and we still have that brown smoke. And this gets away from a little bit, as they're going. And like I said, with only just a few people on scene, you're limited somewhat by what you can do just based on how many folks you have, right? But a good, really nice initial knockdown here at the front end that we can see as they hit this fire, and that initially they had a pretty good. They got over it most of the way, but they did not get over it all the way, and that's the way it rolls, right? Nothing necessarily on them with the limited staffing. And of course, houses this size, you can put sprinklers in them, and this wouldn't happen in the first place, right? I don't have any real knowledge of the department itself, but I think if we can learn from the reading smoked aspects and say, and we've said this quite a bit, and we've got significant smoke coming out of the eaves, or in this case the ridge vent, when we go for fire attack, what we want to see is Initially, we're going to see some heavy or some high volumes of white steam, right? Copious amounts of steam coming out, but that should just trail off and trail off and trail off and trail off if there's no working fire in the attic space. If there is a working fire, it's going to stay steady or increase in its VVDC. All right, with that, I want to say, hey, thanks for coming to join me. If you like the stuff, please hit the thumbs up button for me. Spread the word, send it out to folks by email. I love every week to see people looking at it. I get messages that people are using it for training. I really appreciate all that stuff, and anything I can do to help you learn more about the art of reading smoke, I'd be happy to do that. And my name is Phil Jose, and with that, I'm out.